Now, joining us this evening to discuss this is the director of Yunus Emre Institute. A very warm welcome to Dr. Mehmet Karakush. Wa alaikum assalam. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Today Show. So tell us what your role is and what you do within the Institute.
Thank you very much for inviting us to the show. As you rightly said at the beginning, Yunus Emre Institute was founded in 2007, but started operating in 2009, and London branch started operating in 2010. And so we've been here almost over 12 years. And obviously Yunus Emre Institute's main aim is to make friendship with the wider world, and so to introduce Turkish culture, language, history and art to the world. So our motto is just let us all be friends. So because this is the Yunus Emre's famous word, so let us be all friends. So this is the Yunus Emre's motto, and so we would like to make more friends of Turkey. This is the way we are operating in the UK and in around the world, with over 66 branches in 55 countries at the moment. So it's a wide global network.
Quite impressive. And tell us, like, what are these activities that you're doing kind of in the cultural space and the art space? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, first of all, our main objective is teach Turkish as a second language, because Turkish is now is very famous and most learned languages around the world. And obviously, while you are doing your activities, art and culture is the main theme of our activities, our events.
And I can see we've got the calligraphy pictures just on screen.
That's right, because
wow.
One of the traditional Turkish and Islamic arts, the calligraphy, illumination, paper marbling, these are all taught by the very high professionals, established artists, mainly from the UK, traditionally trained, all of them especially traditionally trained, because we are very strict to keep the rules of tradition, and also obviously we would like to do some touches on a modern way, but making these traditions revive, you have to follow the rules of the tradition. So art of calligraphy, illumination, paper marbling, the classical instruments like oud and ney are the regular courses we taught. Obviously, new ones coming up, new instruments is coming up recently. So, and also we are organizing lots of art and cultural talks. One of the main attraction actually in the center, because we are talking about not only the Turkish arts, but we are actually opening wider to the Islamic world. So, for example, last week we had a Bosnian professor talking about the book binding and mushafs in the Balkans, for example, in Sarajevo especially. And so it's a quite wide range of activities we do along with the language classes. And also we are very famous with organizing Turkish cuisine events, especially we did last year on the London Craft Weeks. During London Craft Weeks, we organized about 10 workshops on the Turkish cuisine, for example. We organized film events, London Turkish Film Weeks. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, we have to stop because we didn't get any venues. But hopefully, soon we are going to organize the new ones as well.
Incredible. So various activities there that you mentioned, including the food. We cannot forget the foods, which is absolutely delicious. I got the chance to go to Istanbul and all of that, and it was absolutely amazing. Now, you're organizing an event soon, which we heard here at Islam Channel. Tell us more about this event and what it encompasses.
Yeah, that's right. Because when we talked about before the show, and you mentioned that you think the Sema ceremony is only performed in Turkey,
Istanbul,
but
yeah.
Obviously now it's coming to UK. We did in the past actually in 2015 we had in London and in Edinburgh, but now it's coming to UK in three actually cities, starting from Cambridge, then going to Oxford, and then we are finishing off in London. But this is not only the ceremonies we are going to do. We also have lectures and small concert in SOAS, for example, on the 11th of February. It's starting with the small concert and the Sema, and then we are going to Cambridge on the 12th. So again, it's going to be two events in Cambridge at this same day, a lecture and small concert about the Sufi music, tradition of Sufi music, and then the same evening we are going to do the Sema ceremony in Cambridge, West Road Concert Hall, which is the university's main concert hall. This is acoustically famous. And then the next day we're going to go to Oxford, which is one of the monument of the Oxford, the Sheldonian theatres, the famous with their surrounding. Actually, it looks like Mevlevi Hane, as it's called. That's what we like about Sheldonian theatre. And then we're going to come back to finish off in London on Earth Theatre on the 14th. So it's going to be very amazing performances within those span of short time.
And I can tell you're really, really excited. Dr. Mehmet, you mentioned the Sema ceremony, and what's the second ceremony?
Devran.
Could you tell us about it?
Yeah, the Sema ceremony and Devran Zikr, and also the other Sufi traditions in Turkey, very well known, because Sufi traditions in Anatolia especially, and then the moved to the Balkans, it is very important because during the Ottoman time, the tekkas and dervishes educating the people in a sense of their behavior, you know. These are the places where people learn how to behave, how to actually uplift their soul, and how to contemplate, how to make dhikr. So that's why the Sema ceremony and Devran Zikr, other Bektashi Zikr or other Sufi ceremonies are important. So the Sema ceremony is tradition coming from the 13th century, Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi. Everybody knows about Mevlana Jalaluddin Rumi in the world, but obviously the Sema ceremony performed by Istanbul Sufi Ceremonies Ensemble in an original way. Because you can see in Turkey or in everywhere the Sema is being performed, but it's not in an original way, which is actually not very approvable, because the Sema in a way of praying to Allah, because when you do Sema, there are lots of symbols in it. For example, the sikke, the long hat, represent the tombstone.
Wow.
And the white tanur is symbolic of the whiteness, the cleanliness of the soul.
So what about the Devran Dhikr one? What's different with that one?
Devran, the Sema has the whirling dervishes performing the Sema Dhikr. The Devran is all the dervishes get together in a circle and make the dhikr. So there are two different types of
Because you mentioned
dhikr.
kind of the traditional way, or in the Turkish culture, and the kind of untraditional way. There are two methods you mentioned.
No, but when I say the traditional methods, these are performed in the tekkas. That's why it's being a traditional, and it has rules, and it should be done in a certain way, because this is a prayer to Allah, for example, because when dervish is turning, they still remember Allah, and they keep saying Allah silently. And also these, as I said, these are all the symbols. For example, when they leave their black garment behind, they leave the world behind, and they actually move themselves and unite with God. So silently remembering Allah, and so this is a kind of dhikr, and that's why it's important, and that's why it has to be kept in a way that's been done originally. So it's not going to be performed in, you know, the shows or in a like in boats or in somewhere else in weddings. So it has to be done in a proper way, as a kind of praying to Allah.
And
Because,
Dr. Mehmed, we've got under 2 minutes.
All right.
I want to talk about the tickets. You know, how can those viewers who are interested get a hold of those tickets? There are 6 events, right?
That's
let's
right.
not miss the key bits here for those that are interested.
That's great, because it's easy. If you go online to our website, yeelondon.org.uk, and you can pick whichever one you want to book, then it's easy. Then you can buy your tickets either in Cambridge on the 12th, or Oxford on the 13th, or London on the 14th. So it's easy to do, and also it's quite actually cheap, as I can say.